Hi Leo, how are we today? Just doing our weekly readings. This week we're actually looking at a little bit more than a week, the end of October, all right, but we will sort of check in, see what's going on, anything you need to be aware of for the end of the month. Make sure you do subscribe to the channel. I do really appreciate that. Really helps the channel grow, so thank you all so much. And help, keep an eye out for all the Halloween theme readings next week as well. All right, and today I'm using the Wing, Hoof and Paw annual Animal Companion Oracle. I also have here the Yin Yang Oracle, and tying everything together today with the Slavic folklore lenormand. All right, getting into it for you, Leo. I'm doing a bit of a twist on the Celtic cross layout today. So I will draw a bunch of cards out for you, and then we'll sort of get on into it. Starting off with your overview, your main energy. Leo, main energy for our Leos this week. What does Leo need to be aware of? Messages for Leo for the end of October. Okay, and your supporting energy here, Leo. Main energy for Leo, the end of October. What does Leo need to know right now? Then we'll have a look at all the energy around you as well, Leo. Starting off with the external influences this week. The challenges or obstacles you're having. The advice that you are being given this week. Oh, interesting. I like that. And the outcomes for you this week, Leo. Oh, just clarify that outcome energy. All right. Okay, so the main energy we see for you this week, Leo, we have the horse coming through. This is all about freedom, letting your hair down and letting it blow in the wind, racing on into the future for yourself, in a very free kind of way, not feeling, still obviously taking care of responsibilities where necessary, but not feeling chained to them, allowing yourself the freedom to kind of do what you want and, do a lot of fun things for yourself at the moment, and really follow the beat of your own heart this week, Leo, instead of feeling like you're restricted to having to do what everyone else wants you to do or whatever. Okay, so freedom for you this week, Leo. We do see that coming through with the book and the garden coming through for you here as well. So the book is all about sort of, there's a lot of education here, but there's also the mystery of the unknown, the future, the next chapters haven't been written yet, and knowing that you've got the freedom to choose what the next chapter really is going to bring for you here. That, and sometimes the unknown is the freedom in itself, knowing that, I'm just going to keep charging forward, not even knowing what's coming next, just looking forward to it one way or another, especially with the garden there as well. That's a very fun, sociable kind of energy as well. So you kind of really just enjoying life, I feel, at the moment, Leo. Really, getting out and about and being sociable, and going to events and accepting invitations and all those sorts of things here. It's very, very sort of learning along the way kind of energy, learning how to compromise with others along the way. Very, very public social energy. So some of you may be, finding a little bit of freedom in social situations or social media situations as well. Learning more about social media for some of you here. I don't know what that means, but some of you, there may be something about educating yourself somehow to do with social media, or how to, compromise, get on the same page, meet somebody halfway kind of energy. You're learning and researching, I feel, where this freedom is taking you. You're sort of kind of getting on a whim and following it down this week, I feel, with that horse energy. It's like you're sort of going where the wind takes you. And, if you all of a sudden you feel like, I want to learn more about this, you kind of jumping into it and letting yourself sort of get swept away with the ideas of that you're sort of researching or whatever this week. Okay, but the external influences we have on you this week, we have the letter. So this is like communication and expression, but as an external influence, this is, for some of you, this has got to do with paperwork, something being communicated to you. There may be just blocks in communication for you this week, struggling to understand the way that somebody's expressing themselves or communicating something to you. So I do feel as though this could actually be a little bit of a block in communication for a lot of you this week, that you're kind of, and as an external influence, it's like, once again too, with that garden here, it's kind of getting on the same page with expression and the way that people communicate. So you're maybe needing to learn a little bit more about how to communicate with different types of people, or communicate clearly and understand the way that somebody else is communicating and things like that. So maybe that's got something to do with what you're kind of learning more about this week as well, Leo, because the external influence of communication and expression, it does sort of seem to be that you're very influenced this week by the communications that you're receiving and the way things are being expressed to you. So I do feel as though this is very close to miscommunication for a lot of you, misunderstandings and things like that, especially when the actual challenge obstacle we have for you is the bird. Okay, and so the bird is another conversational type card. It does talk about conversations that are being had, and so this as an obstacle, as a challenge, is like, maybe that's why the external influence of communication is an issue, because maybe it's like we need to have a conversation, but we're having difficulty having this conversation where, so it's kind of a bit of a struggle in amongst that all. But also, I do feel it necessary to mention here with the birds as a challenge, as an obstacle, that it can sometimes talk about gossip and rumors. All right, so maybe that's what's being expressed, and that's the external information you're receiving this week, is that there's a little bit of gossip or rumors or something around that manner, and so we're really needing to learn a little bit more about how to deal with that conversation and how to overcome that conversation that needs to be had or is being had at the moment here, where we're needing to express ourselves just a little bit more clearly to avoid the miscommunications and to avoid those conversations sort of going downhill and becoming obstacles this week. So it's just a little bit of miscommunication as a bit of a challenge for you this week, and it's more to do with the external stuff. So people around you, so they may not be expressing themselves clearly. They may be coming across as gossiping when that's not what they're actually trying to do. That sort of thing. Maybe they're taking rumors as fact, and it's kind of just getting a little bit mixed signals, crossed wires kind of energy here. The advice you're receiving this week, Leo, we actually have the snake, which I kind of really love that as an advice card, because that actually does talk about being a little bit more unafraid and unapologetic. As advice, this is all about following your passions and your desires, and finding other ways around things. The snake energy, it is Scorpio energy, and we all kind of know the stereotype of Scorpio, that they are a little bit more confrontational and domineering and bitchy, I suppose, is one way to look at that. I personally love Scorpios, but some people find them affronting, and that's why their energy is the snake, because that the snake energy, it can be quite confronting, and it does also talk about deceptions and betrayals and illusions and delusions, but you're kind of embracing the delusion this week, as your advice is to embrace the temptation and the snake embrace that energy of, being a little bit more snaky and a little bit more, it's kind of the little white lies you tell when you need to, in order to find, ways around things, in order to be a little bit, snaky, because, snakes never go in a straight line. They slither along like this. So maybe you're needing to be a little bit slithery this week, so that you're, avoiding the topics of conversations that you want to avoid. And, when you're hitting brick walls, there's no such thing as a brick wall for a snake. They've managed to find their cracks and crevices and find their way through, no matter what kind of thing. So you're kind of needing to do that a little bit this week, and kind of embrace that snake energy. It's also giving me the Medusa energy, where it's like, if I turn my back on you, you'll turn to stone, kind of thing. That you want me to be snake. You don't want me to be like, you want me to be slithering, because you don't want me to turn my back on you, because, you'll just turn to stone, and you'll be stuck then. You'd rather have me in your life as a slithery snake than not at all, kind of energy. So you're kind of finding a little bit of passion and a little bit of spike. I don't know why it's coming through in that sense. Scaliness, spikiness, like, I'm trying to think of a word to phrase exactly what I mean here. It's like, be a little bit more slippery and a little bit more confronting, and a little bit more, hiss, a little bit more hiss, and a little bit more, I'll bite you if you get too close, or if you try to step on me, I'll bite, kind of thing. A bit more venomous with the way that you are, just within your energy at the moment. It's actually kind of a weird as advice, but it's actually really good advice for you right now, Leo, to, embrace the venom that's within at the moment. It's actually serving you well, to make sure that these miscommunications are not happening. If you have to say something harshly, maybe you need to say it harshly, that kind of thing. All right, because we do see the outcome here. We have the Reaper as the outcome, which is the scythe in the traditional deck. All right, and I have that clarified by the clover. So both of those are very impulsive energies. Very, the outcome is that you may need to break free from something. You may need to cut something out of your life. You may need to take a chance and break free. You may need to take a chance and embrace very quick, sudden changes. Doing something impulsively is kind of the outcome for you this month, that you may need to take a bit of a chance and a bit of a risk, to jump in the deep end with something and make a big change in your life, because the scythe does bring change very, very quickly. It can also be a harvest, but a lot of the time it is that cutting away of, cutting the crap out of your life, and, so that all the change can happen. And, you're with the clover clarifying that, and that just being, taking a chance, investing in more, investing in the change. So you're kind of jumping in the deep end here, and maybe doing something very impulsively at the end of the month, where you are cutting something out of your life, or you are sort of taking a chance on some big changes in your life this month, in order to, embrace your freedom and really be the Leo that you truly are. Embracing your truth and your freedom to do as you please. You have free will. You use it. That kind of thing. Any extra messages coming through for Leo? Anything else Leo needs to be aware of this month? Anything else coming through for our Leos? So interesting. We have the card of change coming through first, which is also the card of courage. Courage to make those changes. So that's the outcome that we saw already for you here, Leo, is jumping in the deep end and taking that chance to embrace the change. So, that's kind of clarifying that is probably a lot more about making big changes in your life rather than necessarily cutting things out, so to speak. But change very important for you this month. Not being afraid of that change, having the courage to make changes and face changes this month. And then we see the snake energy coming back through here, deception and temptation. This is my Kanye West card. It looks like Kanye West, if you ask me. And he always embraces that snake energy too, I believe. So, and like he vibes very much as snake energy. So this is definitely my Kanye West card. Deception, temptation. So not being afraid to, follow what tempts you this month. That may be part of your courage to make these changes, is to follow temptation this month. If I want it, I'm going to have it. I feel like I'd really like that in my life, so I'm going to go and grab it. That kind of thing, the temptation there. But maybe a little bit of deception is necessary this month as well. It's kind of like, once again, those little white lies of, does my butt look big in this? Well, I'm just going to deceive you and say, no, your butt looks great all the time. What are you talking about? Because it's kind of avoiding that conversation. You're avoiding the miscommunications and the conversations this month, because they are a bit of a challenge for you at the end of October here. We do also see the thoughts and isolating energy. So, for some of you here, that's why the deception may be necessary, is because you're thinking things through very carefully, and you're isolating your thoughts and isolating individual thoughts this month, and sort of really thinking them through as to the consequences, I feel. Just clarify that thoughts isolation card for Leo, please. For some of you, you may just need to spend some time alone. New ideas, yeah, it's really, we have the stork there, that's the herald in this deck, clarifying that. So that really is to embrace change and new ideas and new perspectives, and to stir things up. So you're really isolating yourself from stirring things up with others, but you're still stirring things up within your own thought processes. And in order to embrace changes, you're really isolating the temptations, the things that you really want, that you're tempted to, oh, look, that I know that chocolate might not be really good for me, but I'm tempted to have it. So do you know what? I'm going to think it through. I'm going to isolate that thought about, why do I want that chocolate? Would it feel good to have it? Yes, it would. So I'm just going to go ahead and have it, kind of thing. So it's kind of helping you stir up changes in your energy in a positive way, ultimately, even though your messages have come through a little bit like, what's the word, haphazard. It's all over, all in all, it's very kind of positive shifts, I feel, for a lot of you here, moving forward into maybe making some big changes at the end of the month that are going to sort of see you through the rest of the year here. I feel like for some of you, they're coming out of nowhere too, these ideas. It's like all of a sudden something stirs within you and you just sort of jump into something very quickly this month. So embrace those changes, Leo. That's what we have for you. You're more than welcome to check out your other placements, of course. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all again soon.